you will be learning. I think we can apply our technical knowledge in the process technologies. You will be learning mathematical modeling. So this mathematical modeling can be used in catalyzed reactions. Process technology like distillation, I mentioned about the fractionation processes, the oleochemical plants, thermodynamics. I think all your seniors here are learning, right?
Yeah.
Second year, third year. So you're probably wondering where you're going to use the maths, the thermodynamics. Definitely in all the processes, cost optimization, converting waste to health, and where the area you can find chemical engineers. I think it's pretty vast from the plant operation to quality, technical economic valuation, because at the end of the day when you're producing a product, it should be sustainable and viable, right? I think I'll just speed through this. Yeah, and another important part is instrumentation and control also. Today, I think what it was like back in 50 years is different to what you need to have the sort of skills. I think the disruptive technologies that we need to have, I think all these should be incorporated to your chemical engineering as well. 5G technology, AI, big data, biotechnology. I think everything is changing, everything is rapid right now. You need to really work 10 times harder in terms of doing a certain analysis. Like you need certain data like sort of yesterday. So we need to make use the assistance of all these to make our work better and highly sufficient. This is a bit that I want to tell, like ponder upon. Circularity is a biggest importance right now because everybody is moving into the sustainability concept. Sort of like we are making, using all the resources today, right, to produce whatever products, components that is right now. But we need to make sure our planet is also taken care. So in coming future, it is no longer going to be about eliminating carbon emission. It's like how do you do carbon sink, right? So I think by the time you come back working, there'll be more things that you guys need to do. And alright, so what do palm oil is specific to palm oil industry? What can be expected? So you guys should be able to apply all these knowledges and skills to practical situation, to solve the production problems, to be able to have interpersonal relationship, demonstrate leadership skills. I think with a lot of this big data, right, robots coming, mechanization coming, they say that human intervention is going to be lesser, but I think we will still need to be there in order to be the right decision makers. You need to actually supply those information to this AI. So we are still valid, right? You need to up your game by connect to create. I think right now with all these social media world, everything is fingertips. I think right now students in school starts to have LinkedIn. I bet like all of y'all familiar with LinkedIn, right? Okay, so it's like, how do I say? I only start to apply for work when I finish my graduation. But you guys can start doing it now itself. You connect to the right people. Say you have certain interests within a certain industry, you connect to all the companies, bodies, audit bodies, so you increase sort of your knowledge within that area. So, and also fundamentals knowledge. I think despite however much the AI going to be there, you need the fundamental knowledge to fit into this AI. So make sure that you have that very strongly. And I think this I already mentioned, I think attitude is very important. So though everything is there in front of you, might look easy, but the competition is also growing. Like each one of, maybe back then like 10 people might be good, now everybody is going to be good, so you need to up your game. So I think with that, you need, I think ethics, trustworthiness, the strong motivation, so all that are going to be important as well. Yeah, I think that's all from me. Maybe it's a bit technical and wide across, but thank you. I hope I was able to share a bit of my experience, in that 30 minutes of time spent. And yeah, I think we are going into some questions. Right, yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Hemavathi, for the meaningful sharing.
Now it is time for another Q&A session. So dear participants, please proceed to www.menti.com by scanning the QR code, or you can key in the code and you can type in your questions there and we will help you deliver them to Ms. Hemavathi.
You may also raise your hand to ask directly the questions. Alright, let us wait for a while for everyone to type in their questions.
Okay, so let us proceed to the first question. The first question is, what is the main vision of processing department in SDP or palm oil industry? What is your opinion on this, Ms. Hemavathi?
Main vision, or I think it goes back to optimizing the yield, the extraction rate, delivering it at the best quality. With a lot of like this contaminant issues are coming, I think we are focusing very much on the quality aspect, extraction rate, and also safety, in terms of safety be it to the people. And very much all this will be covering under sustainable aspect also. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Hemavathi, for answering this question. So, for the second question, does chemical engineering also do economies financial jobs? Example, capital expenses, cost optimizations?
Yeah, so basically when, say, we want to look at R&D aspects, right? Say, for example, circular economy, we want to use the biomasses to produce a certain fine chemicals, right? So we explore the R&D aspects of it. How do we do it? What are we producing? Whether there's market uptake or not. So we develop the processes and we become the well-versed person in each of the processes, the equipments that we use, right? So with that, we also need to do the cost optimization, meaning that I think this comes under the feasibility aspect. So we need to bring in the values to a certain processes that we do. So by knowing the expert in that certain processes, we are able to prove that whether a certain product or process will be viable or not. So, and if let's say a certain cost is involved, how do we optimize it? Whether you can reduce the pump sizing, whether you can do it in route 2, route 3. So I think it binds. So we need to be well-versed in these economic calculations also. But of course, we will be guided by the financial team. But having the technical knowledge and both the economy analysis, I think we will be able to do a better aspects of evaluating a certain process or product. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for answering this question. I hope this clarifies the participant's question. Okay, moving on to the next question. Do you apply analytical chemistry, example chromatography or mass spec in palm oil industry? Can you give some example perhaps?
Nice, okay, yeah. So again, goes back to the process, right? So I showed how we do the palm oil processing, for example. If let's say I want to improve a certain stage of it, for example, to introduce like enzyme, right? So I'm trying to increase the extraction rate, but I cannot only look at the what is the output. So I actually do certain chromatography to sort of like, for example, liquid chromatography, HPLC, gas chromatography, all these are applied within this palm oil processing line to know like what are the fine chemicals in certain process streams. Like we use gas chromatography to measure the gas composition in the biogas. And also mass spec, yeah, a lot of these are being used to actually measure the quality of the streams, how's the conversion rate, yeah. It's very much applicable in a processing line, right? I think it goes back to quality specs.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hemavathi, for
that
answering the
hard.
next question. Yeah, me too.
Thank you.
For the next question, what do you earn from practicing sustainability at work? Just now, the context of monetary value.
Okay, so I just read an article today, this morning, right? In coming 20 years, sustainability going to be different. It's no longer carbon capture. It's going to be how we're going to do it in terms of carbon sink, right? Instead of eliminating all the carbon that your company is producing, you need to actually eliminate carbons that are being produced by other people, right? So in a way, that's what sustainability means. We are making use of the resources today for a better generation later. It's going to come with cost. Probably in terms of monetary, it's going to be a bit costly today, but it's something that you have to do. You will earn later. Yeah, in terms of context, that I think we are doing more to sustain not only the company, I think everybody, each of us. So for example, I want to give this. I'm sure all of you have Grab. Yeah? So when you place an order, I think there will be an option at the bottom of it. Are you going to pay 10 cents? Like, have you all noticed this? 10 cents for carbon. So what do you all understand by this? Any of you can give me an example. Have any of you all actually paid the 10 cents? No, I'm sure. I never paid too. So basically, carbon emission, right? All these GHG gas emissions. One of the major producer, of course, industry, agriculture processing. The largest is transportation. When you run a car, right? Like you are producing so much of carbon dioxide. So when it comes to Grab, it involves that your driver is driving from a certain distance to a certain distance. He's emitting. So whatever the company is asking, whether you want to pay the extra 10 cents in order for them to take a certain initiative to invest in cutting down that carbon. So there's a few ways of this carbon footprint, how you eliminate it, right? You eliminate or you do something else. For example, reforestation. You plant more trees in order to capture those extra carbon dioxide that you produce. So what I'm trying to say here is that I think sustainability, it comes with certain cost, but you do it for a greater good, right? Okay. So maybe after this, you guys can consider paying that 10 cents. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. The next question is palm oil going to be the next generation of fuel?
Nice. I like this question because it's not only palm oil. So when we are processing palm oil, right, a larger amount of biomasses are being produced. So we try not to compete with the food supply, right? Food security is a very important aspect of SDG goals. So biofuels, right, bioenergy, it started off like we have this first generation, second generation. We had this ethanol production from crops, right? And next, palm oil. But the next thing that we are really focusing on is making use of these biomasses. So palm oil industry as a whole, yes, it will be a largest contributor in this biofuel sector, but I think we will still prioritize palm oil for the food aspect. So the biomasses will be the next thing in terms of biofuels, right? Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Hemavathi, for the wonderful answer. So for the next question, may I ask if whether you think there is gender discrimination in chemical engineering?
Oh my God. Okay, no. I think no. All right, let me give you an aspect. Going back to UKM, my class, my batch. My chemical engineering batch, as compared, so in UKM there's like chemical, EE, mechanical, right? Chem engineering had like more girls than the other engineering. Okay, so what I'm trying to say that I think the versatility, actually you can see a lot in chemical engineering. So I think on a bigger picture, I don't see gender discrimination now. I think it's about our effort. I think there's a lot of opportunities now for the ladies in everything, be it the aviation, going to NASA. Okay, so what more? Chemical engineering, right? I think the opportunities are more. Maybe it'll be a bit more challenging, you know, when it comes to like sort of traveling, your commitments and all that. But I think we are growing out of this right now, right? Yeah.
Due to time constraint, that will be the last question of the Q&A session. It is our honor to have you with us today.
Oh, okay, great.
Once again, thank you, Ms. Hemavathi, for sharing meaningful insights together with us.
All right.
Before we move on, is there any final advice you would like to pass to the participants?
Uh, Not really final advice. I think you guys being here shows that you guys are motivated to do something, right? I mean, like, despite being in like matriculation, you wanted to know more about chemical engineering. I think it's a good drive. Yeah, just make sure that you sort of like with all these technologies, knowledge, everything in your mobile phone. I think yeah, make this more beneficial for greater goods, right? Try to diversify all your expertise and skills, and yeah, don't forget to have fun. Yeah.
Thank
Good
you
luck
so
for
much.
your, I think, next year.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hemavathi. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Liu Junjie, accompanied by Mr. Kwei Zilong, to give a token of appreciation. Now, let us take a picture together to commemorate this moment.